Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Tally. The mission and the goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Tuesdays with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. And now your host, Brian Tally.
Welcome back to Tuesdays with Tally Podcast, where we add real-life value to the lives of everyday people. Be sure to follow us on social media and on Spotify. The online information and handles are all located on the scrolling ticker at the bottom portion of your screen. We are on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Anchor FM, and Spotify. Simply search Tuesdays with Tally. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to get every episode and stay up to date with the latest and greatest our guests in this show has to offer. Today, we celebrate day 119 of this brand new podcast. And today is episode 84. We continue to grow this program every single day because of people like you that tune in and are sharing the show. So we do sincerely appreciate that. Are you a business owner? If you are, reach out to me. If you want to advertise your business right here on this podcast, let me help you reach your goals, and let's put a marketing plan together and develop a strategy to take your business to the next level. It could be an event, it could be merchandise, it could be a service, whatever you do. Let's get together. Email me today, thetallybill@gmail.com. That's thetallybill@gmail.com. Let's sit down. Let's have a conversation, and let's get you sponsoring this show. Now, today's show sponsor is Chris Whittemore, a U.S. Marine and combat veteran and scout sniper. He has recently written a book, Terror to Triumph, again, by Chris Whittemore. Go online, Google it, Terror to Triumph by Chris Whittemore, and you will find it. Go get it today. It's available everywhere books are sold online. Now, this book is based on a true story about the Battle of Ramadi as seen through the lenses of a Marine Scout sniper. This is a boots-on-the-ground perspective of war and coming home after war. Buy Terror to Triumph today. Again, available everywhere books are sold online. This awesome book will make for a great Christmas gift. But you got to buy today to have that sucker wrapped and put under the tree for Christmas morning. You will be supporting a great American and a U.S. Marine veteran. Now, folks, we have a very special guest joining us on today's program. Chase's Choice was founded by Ken Rief after his son Chase had undiagnosed epilepsy and was incorrectly diagnosed as having ADHD. The medication Chase was on caused him to become paralyzed, and he was told he would never walk again. After this devastating news, a neurologist finally came to the conclusion that Chase had epilepsy. Ken then began using cannabis to treat his son's seizures. Chase's story is a powerful reminder that what is legal is not always just, and what is just is not always legal. Ken and his wife, Tammy, continue to fight to this day to further educate and provide research to the general public on the benefits of cannabis and hemp. Chase's Choice is based in Colorado and provides high-quality CBD, CBG, CBN, THC, and much more. And with that, we are honored to be joined by Ken Rief. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing, Polly? Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Hey, I'm hanging in there, man. Again, I'm just, so excited about this program. You are the 84th episode in 119 days, and I know this show continues to inspire and encourage others out there and educate. So I'm just doing what God wants me to do, and I'll continue doing it until he says no more.
Well, it's an honor being on your show. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. And we sincerely appreciate everything you do and what you are currently doing in the military community and the veteran community, and really in your community, in the civilian community as well, where you're from in Colorado, with everything that you're doing with research and development, and all your products, all your hemp products and your medical marijuana products. I mean, you're saving lives, and you are enhancing and enriching the lives of all people that come into your into your dispensary.
We love doing this. I mean, there's nothing I'd rather be doing than this right now.
It is a very, very important job, and I've got to tell you, how did we become connected, folks? Well, let me tell you. You guys may have remembered one of my first episodes. I was sitting here, I was doing a podcast, and I heard the bell ring. And after the show, I got up and I had a bag of pills. My monthly installment was coming. And I brought it into my office. I opened it up. And I was just flabbergasted. I'm like, Tally, are you seriously taking all these pills? And it came to me that I have been living on pills for over 7 years now. Like for 3 years, I was on like 40 pills a day. And then it got down to 30, and now I'm on 20. Well, with the help of Ken, he reached out to me about 60 days ago when I put this program on, when I opened up my bag of pills on a podcast. And it got shared around, and it ended up in Ken's lap. And he says, I want to reach this guy. Give me his information. I'm going to send him a care package from Colorado, and we're going to see if we can't get him off some pills. Because all pills are doing to this guy are continuously to destroy his insides that have already been destroyed due to an infection that went undiagnosed and nearly caused me my death back in January of 2016. So what Ken saw was an opportunity to help a fellow veteran. And again, he sent me this care package, and I've been taking my CBD products now for about 30 days. And I'm telling you right now, it has been a tremendous asset to my life. And I've actually got some right here. This is my immunity support here by Chase's Choice. It's one of Ken's products. And it's got all the good stuff in it. It's got the CBDA, the CBGA, the CBDVA, and the CBC in it. Now, all of this is medicine, and it's medicine that is used to treat your anxieties and your depressions and your chronic pains. And these are potions that are put together that are intended to take the place of pharmaceuticals. And that's where I want to start. Ken was living his life. Everything was great, and until it wasn't. Until his son Chase had undiagnosed medical problems as well, and he ended up paralyzed. Now, what this father would end up doing is the work of a tremendous champion. And it goes to show the love, the unconditional love that this father has for his son. You have dedicated your life to healing those who have been put on pharmaceuticals after doctors or perhaps nurses or clinicians or whatever have failed to effectively treat their sick, and they just throw pills at them. Pick it up from here. What happened and what inspired you to start Chase's Choice?
Okay. So probably around the age of 10, Chase was having some issues. He wasn't paying attention in school. His grades were poor. So the doctors decided to try him on some ADHD medications because they thought that he had ADHD. So that's where everything just went to hell. The pharmaceutical were causing side effects, and rather than pulling him off the medications, they were giving him more pills to counteract the side effects from the ADHD medications. So they would try different ones over the next 4 years. So when he turned 14, right around the time he turned 14, they put him on a pharmaceutical called Concerta, and they put him on such a high dose of it that it literally shut down his dopamine production and paralyzed him from the waist down. He had to be flight for life up to Children's Hospital up in Aurora. He was up there for 5 days. End of 5 days, the team of doctors come in and they say, okay, you have concerted toxicity. We need to get you off these medications and put you on some different ones. So at the age of 14 in Colorado, you can make your own medical decisions. So Chase said, I'm not taking any pharmaceuticals. That's why I'm paralyzed. So we got him out of the Children's Hospital. We took him directly to a neurologist up in Pueblo. And he was diagnosed the next day with generalized epilepsy. So what he was having was called absent seizures. So you just kind of blank out. They're not drop seizures. You just blank out for, 5 to 10 seconds. So the neurologist said, okay, we need to put you on some anti-epileptic medication. And Chase again said, I'm not being put on medications. So we brought up medical marijuana, getting him a medical marijuana card, because at the time it just became legal in Colorado for children to get medical marijuana cards, or parents to get it for them so they can try CBD. So back then, when we were doing this, CBD and hemp was a Schedule I substance, just like marijuana. So we had to jump through a bunch of hoops. You had to get 2 doctors to sign off for a minor to get a card, a medical marijuana card. So we did it. His neurologist signed off on it, and then my medical marijuana doctor signed off as a second signature. Then the problems really started because we tried to access CBD, but we couldn't get it because people were flocking to Colorado to get the CBD for their kids with epilepsy. So me being an accomplished marijuana guy, I had gotten myself off of 25 years of opiate addiction on pain pills, muscle relaxers, sleeping pills. I got a med card 14 years ago, just smoked marijuana and ate it and got off all my medications. It took me 2 weeks to get off of opiates. Then it took me another year to get off of like Lyrica, Lunesta, just all the other crap they had me on. So when it came down to trying to figure out what I was going to use for my son, there wasn't a lot of research on how to give a kid medical marijuana for epilepsy or anything. So I did some research. I found out that if you cold press cannabis, you get a cannabinoid called THCA, which is really non-psychoactive unless you heat it. So I started processing cannabis into THCA oil, and we started giving it to our kid. We didn't let anybody know what we were doing. And 4 months into us giving him this stuff, he started walking again. So we were able to get his seizures under control just using THCA. And then we started accessing some hemp to where I could basically cold press the hemp too, so I wasn't converting any of the little bit of THC in it to get him high. We put this mixture together. We called it Canna Hemp. It was all non-psychoactive. We got his seizures under control by the time he turned 15. So the neurologist was just so amazed that Chase went from being in and out of the hospital, a couple times a week, tachycardia, anxiety, all kinds of crap, to him not being on any pharmaceuticals. And just this oil that I was making was controlling his seizures. So at 15, the doctor, we went in there for a checkup. He said, this is amazing stuff. He even recommended it to a couple other minor patients that were in his clinic. And so when this neurologist was talking about how amazingly this stuff worked, because Chase was still coming up, basically, when he did an EEG, what would detect his seizures, he would get an EEG, it would show he's having seizures, the doctor would talk to him, and Chase would reply back. So that was really unusual because it was like the THCA was keeping the seizures at bay. So when the neurologist brought this up, that he was so amazed by it, Chase said, hey, if it's working so good, can I get my driver's permit? So, which was kind of unheard of, the kid's on medical marijuana with epilepsy. And so the neurologist said, let's try it. Your dad's going to be in the passenger seat. As long as you're not having seizures, using your medical marijuana, I don't see a problem with it. So Chase went a whole year, no seizures, doing good. And also I want to bring up that Chase was a D- student, like I was going to high school. When Chase started taking this oil, he literally became like he focused. So he went from a D- student to graduating a year early with a 3.6 GPA. So I wanted to throw that in there too, just because this was so amazing seeing his progress. So 1 year later, he's driving, he's doing good. We call up the neurologist to get an appointment to talk about getting his license, and we found out that his neurologist got suspended for signing off on my kid's medical marijuana card because it violated his DEA license to write pharmaceuticals. Because what he did is he recommended a Schedule I substance for a minor. So he got suspended. So we've been involved with like the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, Colorado Hill Climb, Superbike racing, MMA fights for years. Chase was supposed to start racing when he turned 16. And that all went out the window when he was diagnosed with epilepsy and then put on medical marijuana. So everybody in the Colorado Hill Climb Association knew Chase, knew his story, knew what he was dealing with. I called the president and I said, hey, what do we got to do to get Chase racing? And they said, you either have to get letters from his neurologist and his pediatrician saying it's perfectly okay for an epileptic kid while on marijuana to drive, let alone race, which would never happen. No doctor would ever sign off on a kid, to go race, with epilepsy. So the president then said the only other way around it is he just needs a valid Colorado state driver's license. So we took him down 2 days later, got his driver's license. 2 weeks later, we put him in a 750 horsepower Pikes Peak Hill Climb truck, and he podiumed every race. So he raced 3 races, co-drove twice, drove on the 3rd race where he got 2nd. And then at 17, we put him on a Pikes Peak Hill Climb quad and put him in ice racing, and he ended up the state ice racing champion at 17 years old.
Incredible. And this is all done because a father's love for his son wanted to heal him because of the medical malpractice that happened when they were completely over prescribing your son, causing him to be paralyzed. And then the one doctor that tried to help him was the one that got in trouble. It just doesn't make sense. Our medical industry in this country is not broken, it's shattered. And I've got to say, I'm very grateful for you for what you've done for me, because over the last 30 days, I've really added this potion, if you will, of all of these different strains of CBD to my daily regimen. And it has helped me come off of a couple of pills already in the last 30 days as I'm slowly breaking them and trying to wean myself off of some of these pills that I've been on for 7 years now, for over 7 years since my accident in January of 2016. Now, I have never really experimented with medical marijuana. I've tried it a few times when I lived in California. It didn't work for me. I think I just got some CBD that was sent to me from a friend. They're like, try this. I went to a dispensary. They're like, oh yeah, you need to try this. And I didn't have anything that really helped me. And the experience wasn't good. So I stopped taking it. And I only took it for maybe a couple days a week. I just didn't like it. I tossed it. And I never really went back to it until you reached out to me over 30 days ago. And the reason why I've not really ever done any drugs before, right? There's a stigma here attached to marijuana. I'm a dare child, all right? I grew up in the 80s, and The San Diego Police Department, when I went to elementary school in San Diego and middle school, they scared the living shit out of all the students. Again, cocaine was big and marijuana and LSD and all these drugs. So the DARE program worked really well for me. And to this day, I do stigmatize marijuana. And it's something that I've grown with for over 45 years. But I'm starting to change my mind in the way I look at this now, just over the last 30 days since I've been taking these CBD products, because it is medicine and I'm not getting high. There's no smoking here. It's not like the Fast Times at Ridgemont High and everybody's acting silly and eating Cheetos and yeah, man, let's go freaking smoke a joint. This isn't that. This is medicine. This is saving people's lives. This is turning paralyzation into walking again. This is turning paralyzation into driving again. This is turning paralyzation into passing school, going from a D- to a 3.6 GPA and graduating high school a year early. The mental clarity, the mental focus, the anxiety, the depression, it is healing that. The pain, yes, it's not like going to take away everything. But if you add it to your daily regimen, you will see the effects and the improvement day by day as I am right now. And I'm very excited to continue on with this new journey that you have opened my eyes to and have been a tremendous asset to my life and a tremendous champion, not only because of the research and development that you've done, over the last 15, 20 years on this, but you have become so sophisticated at this that you're actually making your own products. Now, let's talk about some of the products that you're actually making right now called Immunity Support. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so I've been working with acid forms for years, and it's just, again, because you don't heat it, so there's a less chance of activating any THC that's in it. So there was a study at Oregon State University last year. They were trying to find natural remedies to help with the effects of COVID. So they tried different essential oils, different cannabinoids. One of the smarter scientists decided that they were going to use some acid forms of hemp, like CBDA, CBGA. So what they did is they got two petri dishes, put a human cell in each one, introduced the SARS virus and 3 COVID strains of viruses, and then they put in CBDA in one and CBGA in the other one. So what they found was that each one of the cannabinoids binded to all 4 of the proteins of the viruses and wouldn't allow it to go into the human cell. So as soon as I read this, I made literally a gallon of this stuff. And I had COVID in 2020. I'm not vaccinated. I was sicker than shit for 5 weeks. I had long COVID for about 3 months after that. It wasn't fun for me. And then I get it again 3 weeks after I make this CBDA oil. And I thought, well, I'm going to try it. So I took 2 full droppers of it, put it under my tongue. I was throwing up, so I had to hold it under my tongue as long as I could so it absorbed through my tissues in my mouth and go into my bloodstream. I swallowed it, didn't throw up. Literally 4 hours later, my fever broke. When I woke up the next day, I didn't have any symptoms of COVID. So I thought maybe this is just the new variant and maybe it's not as bad as the Delta that I had. Well, I gave COVID to my son Chase, who gave it to his wife Tori. We do a peer support PTSD group here for veterans and first responders. I gave COVID to every one of the people in my group. So I started giving them all this CBDA oil. Chase took it just like I did, same exact results. His wife Tori didn't like the taste of it, so she couldn't take it. She was sick for 7 days. I started giving it to vaccinated people with COVID. I started giving it to children with COVID. So we did about 36 people, verified COVID patients since December, and all had basically the same results. They got over COVID quickly. So what I found, the first time I went in, I had COVID. I actually had to go to the hospital. because I thought I broke one of the titanium screws in my lower back. It hurt so bad. I went in there, they x-rayed me. They said, your back's fine. The COVID goes after the most inflamed organs, joints, anything like that. So I understood that COVID is not good for surgery scars or people with heart conditions or lung conditions. So what I found, because I just kept taking that CBDA because I just wanted to make sure COVID was gone. What I noticed is my back wasn't hurting as much. I wasn't as anxious. It seemed to work way better than just CBD by itself. So that's why our Chase's Choice and our lab, Resinosa, sat down, and I told them we want the kitchen sink in this thing. Whatever cannabinoids on both sides, active and inactive, I want in this product. So we ended up putting CBD in it, CBG, CBDV, CBC, low THC. And then we put the acid forms in it, the CBDA, CBGA, and then CBDVA. So these are all different cannabinoids that do different things. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure we had both the CBDA and CBGA in it to help go after these viruses, like COVID. Now people are buying it for their pets and everything. It's just a great product for inflammation.
Now, for the folks out there that aren't educated on, I'm sure they've all heard about CBD, but what you went on to say is CBDA, CBDGA, CBDVA. Can you explain what all these cannabinoids do and what the difference is here, Ken?
So it's really kind of hard. Everybody's different. And the one thing we don't do is we don't make claims that this is going to help anything, but we've had some great results. Everybody's different. What may work for you may not work for somebody else. Mm-hmm. So the CBD is good for pain. It can help with anxiety. All these cannabinoids have a general effect on anxiety and pain and seizures, restless leg, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Just some people need more of one compound than they do of another. One of the ones that's not in that one, it's in our Ultra, our 2500 full spectrum, is CBN. CBN's a really good sedative, a natural sedative, so it can help with sleep. It also helps in some of our Parkinson patients, so they don't shake so much.
My sleep has improved dramatically. And again, I was almost in tears the other day, just trying to describe the feeling to you that how much my quality of life has improved over the last 30 days. Now, it wasn't immediate. It wasn't something that, that happened overnight, but I am really starting to see the effects, and it's all positive effects from my own personal experience and through my own personal opinion. And again, the stigma is real. And I was always one of those guys, I'm not going to lie, saying, yep, they're bad because they're smoking marijuana or whatever. And that's just me, But again, my attitude and my approach, in my opinion, has changed tenfold when it comes to the medical marijuana industry. Now, you have saved folks like your son. Have you had any other experience in helping save the lives of other kids and perhaps adults that are living a life of paralyzation or anxiety and depression riddled, and they come in and they experiment with your products and they come back and they give you good positive feedback?
We have a lot of success stories, and we're more about giving people a better quality of life than trying to fix anything. Like you were talking about, we just try to get people to learn to manage their pain with these products. But yeah, we work with other doctors. We have a plastic surgeon we've been working with for 4 years. My wife was dealing with breast cancer. Again, I'm just a a former Army MP, a retired bail bondsman, and a guy who got a D- in health class. I don't know a lot of medical stuff. So when my wife was dealing with this breast cancer, she couldn't really take THC, and because she just didn't like the feeling of it. And I thought that THC was the only thing that really went after cancer and tumors. So I basically oversaturated her body with CBD, CBG, just the non-psychoactive cannabinoids, and it kept it at bay enough to where she could get a double mastectomy and then a breast reconstruction. So about a week into her first breast reconstruction, in her left incision, she had necrosis, so the skin was dying. So, and oddly enough, this was 2 days after hemp became federally legal. And so this Dr. Barron said, hey, you need to come back in 3 days. I need to cut out that dying skin, the necrosis, and reseal it. It's getting really deep. So my wife said, hey, can I just put my hemp salve on it? And he looked at her and he said, you can put whatever on it you want. It's not going to cure. It's not going to get rid of dying skin. So 3 days later, we go back and it literally is gone. So this plastic surgeon was just dumbfounded on how a little salve could get rid of this. So he asked for a sample of it. I gave it to him. My wife went out of this plastic surgeon's office. I mean, she still has to go see him. But she was there very frequently. So we went back the next time. He's like, I tried it on my neck. It helped my neck. Can I get 6 little jars? I want to give it to 6 of my clients with different issues and see what happens. So within a month, he's like, can you just bring me samples every month? I'll give them out as a first option rather than cortisone shots, opiates, muscle relaxers, which I thought was really cool. So we've been working with this plastic surgeon for 4 years. And he's one of he sends us all kinds of clients. We've been helping a lot of those. We've helped cure stage 4 breast cancer. I'm dealing with my dad's prostate cancer right now. He's been taking our oils. It's very aggressive and it has not spread yet. So your buddy Damon Williams, we helped him get his life back. We help a lot of veterans that, it's simple things for most people, just anxiety, simple pain, sleep, that can really help people out. If you get a good night's sleep, you're probably not as anxious or angry the next day, and a little bit more clarity. But yeah, we have all kinds of success stories, and what we basically do is re-educate people, deprogram them because of the stigma, and we get people on a program of microdosing. So microdosing is the best way to dose somebody with any kind of medication, but we just kind of took that into our lane, and that's specifically how we dose people. You start off on low doses, you work your way up slowly as you're weaning off medication slowly. It's not a race, and it's very dangerous just to quit taking medications. The microdosing also, like with you, I could have told you, heck yeah, take a full dropper, you'll sleep all night. You probably feel a little groggy in the morning, and you're probably using way too much, so you're building up a tolerance to it a lot quicker than you should be. So it's all about the least amount necessary to give you some kind of a benefit. Get your baseline and kind of work with that. On good days, take less. On bad days, you can take a little bit more, but always go back to that original dose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did take me a couple of weeks to figure out what was going to work for me, and again, I had to take a leap of faith here. I was like, man, do I really want to, it's like, taking the pills that I've been content with it. But like you said, the pain, I wake up at a 5-6 and generally, between 8 and 9 different types of pain pills, from your acetaminophen, your hydrocodones, your ibuprofens and your muscle relaxers and all this other stuff, just kind of at different times for, at different stages of the day. And since I started the CBD, I have stayed away from that. Now, I've had days of pain, but I didn't want to go back to those pills because I wanted to see what the CBD would do. I wanted to see what these different strains would do. So as I was experiencing my neck and my back and my spine and the nerve damage and the radiculopathy and all this other stuff that my body suffers from, I began to see it digress a little bit and remained at that 5-6, at that 6-7. But another thing I've noticed is I'm not going to bed at a 9-10 anymore. I'm managing that between that 5 and the 7 because I'll never ever go below a 5. That's just my life, and I'm okay with that. I've been that way for many years, and that's the best it's going to get. But if I could keep it at a 5-6, my life is great. But once I start hitting that 9-10 level, it becomes tough. It becomes challenging. And what I'm doing right now is I'm still trying to figure out what my regimen is going to be and how many drops I'm going to need and, to put it under your tongue and to give it some time to kind of activate and get into your system and begin to work. But again, I've seen the effects. It's been all positive. And another reason why I love it so much is because it's all natural. It's medicine. It's non-psychoactive. I don't want to get high. I don't like that feeling. I've never done that stuff before. And back when I was really sick, it was as if I was high. I was knocked out. I was on anxiety pills. I was on so many pain pills that were kind of working against each other. And again, it kind of puts you into this whirlwind of an anxiety-riddled body as you're laying in a chair trying to figure out how you're going to make it through the day. Yep. So things have changed in my life dramatically because of you reaching out to me, over, a month and a half to 2 months ago or whatever, and then finally talking me into starting this regimen, and then you sent a care package and everything else. And again, so far so good, but I am heavily documenting this. I'm taking notes. I'm learning about it. I'm doing more research. I'm doing my own development, if you will, because I want this to work for me so bad. Because if it could work for me, it could work for so many other people out there, like the veteran community. A big listener of this program are veterans. And a lot of those veterans suffer from PTSD. Now, you have a PTSD group. Explain that and tell me a little bit about it.
So we do a peer support. We have a lot of veterans. So I've been involved with the VA PTSD groups for years. And so probably about 10 years ago, I started telling the guys in group about my experience with medical marijuana, and nobody wanted to hear it because it was in the VA and they'll kick you off if you're using marijuana back then. And so it wasn't until Chase's story started coming out that the guys up at the VA were listening and more interested in it. And then it got to the point where maybe 5 years ago, I was literally taking stuff into the VA during group before the counselor got there and dosing up everybody. So it was funny because I dosed these old Vietnam vets, and about 40 minutes later, they would stand up during group and go, "Oh my God, my back feels better." So the therapist figured it out, told me I couldn't do it. Security came and told me if I get caught giving it out in the VA, I'll be banned from there. They did tell me I could do it outside in the parking lot. So I would park right in the front row. Guys would come out. I'd hand them out samples outside my window. So I did this for quite a while. Now we got most of the guys in that group are using our products. Mm-hmm. So during the pandemic, they were having issues with some of the groups. A lot of guys didn't want to go. Some people did. So we opened it up to where several of the veterans from Hello would drive down here to Canyon City. We have a great facility. We're right on the Arkansas River. We have a 10,000 square foot building. So a lot of times we'll sit outside on the back patio and do group and stuff. We just kind of did that because we saw there was a gap, that there was a lot of people that didn't really want to go talk to a therapist that has never, walked a day in our shoes. They've read about all the stuff we're dealing with. So we started this peer support. So like your buddy Damon Williams, He's one of our peer support counselors. We opened it up to first responders and DOC guards because my son Chase just started as a correctional officer here in Colorado at the Colorado State Penitentiary. So what happened is the governor lifted the ban on correctional officers using marijuana off duty. So Chase doesn't really use marijuana, but he does use full spectrum CBD, which will pop you hot on a UA. So once that door opened, he applied, went to the academy. Now he's a correctional officer. Never in a million years would I thought my kid, the cannabis kid, would be working in law enforcement.
The cannabis kid. Man, I love it. And folks, I encourage you to go to Google today. Type in Chase's Choice. Type in Chase, and you will see that story online. It was in the news. It was in print. It was on TV, and you will see what this fabulous father has done to improve and to really save the life of his son, guys. Because if he could have easily just stayed on that path to put all his faith and trust in doctors that are practicing. Doctors practice. That's just how it is. They're not all good. They're not all bad. A lot of them have your best interest in mind, and some don't. That's just life, right? But to have a father practice and to do everything the right way through correct dosing and through, again, the research, the development, the experience that this man has had for decades in marijuana and all of the different cannabinoids, again, is bringing life and laughter back to people who have lived in the dark shadows and who have been depressed and anxiety filled, and he's bringing that living back, and he's giving all of this medicine to the general public in ways that, again, they can help them come off their prescriptions, or maybe that they were never even on a prescription, but they suffered in silence, and now they're taking this, and their life has gone from being horrible to being great, and to having that life of gratitude that we all deserve to live. Now, people are listening to this today and they're like, I want to try this, because Chase's Choice is different. What you do, cannabis, right? That's your nickname. They call you cannabis because you are not just a guy that's going to open your doors and sell joints and all this THC to get people high and stoned and no. You specialize in so much of the medicinal part of this, right? And so that really intrigues so many people because they want to be healthy. We live in a very stressful society. And if you have something that's all natural that can help people get through the day, that's a win-win for everybody. Now, is this affordable to the common man, to the common woman who's working, at 15 to 20 bucks an hour? Can they get something like this and have it work into their budget?
So the most expensive product we have is the Immunity, which is $60 for a 1 ounce bottle. I think it's one of the better priced ones out there. That's 2,100 milligrams. The one thing that we do that we really pride ourselves on, we let people try stuff first for free. So we don't expect people just to buy a bottle and figure it out. I'll send you free samples and we'll figure out what's going to work best for you. Once we figure out what works best for you, you can buy as much as you want.
You have been a tremendous champion. And like I said, since I've known you for the last couple of months, I've done so much research on you and everything that you've done with your son and the work that you do in the military and veteran community, as well as in the state of Colorado, and all the advocating that you do and all that stuff. And you've really, caught my attention, and I just, again, I don't even know what to say when you have all these abilities now to put out good quality medicine. Because that's what I call it. I call it medicine because that's what it is. And you're changing lives, man. I mean, you really are. You should be very, very, very proud, and I'm sure you are now. Do you have any final words?
I just appreciate it. We love doing this. I mean, this is therapy for me, helping people,
Yeah. Again, it's very, very therapeutic, to get out there and be a part of a community, and to give back and to be so kind-hearted to say, hey, look, I want to see if this is going to work for you first. Let me give you a free sample. If it doesn't work, we part ways. But if it does work, it's going to be well worth that $60 or that $30 a month, whatever it may be, to get these people feeling better and feeling good about themselves, while trying to take away some of those pharmaceuticals that are just doing damage to their body. I mean, look, the warning labels alone on these pharmaceuticals are frightening.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nice thing. There's a lot of wiggle room giving CBD to people. Nobody's died on it, So and again, I really don't have that experience. I'm just a guy that understands cannabinoids a little better than other people. But it just was a matter of researching stuff, reading about it. I'm all self-taught. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's what I'm trying to put out there. It's a pretty simple process. You just got to study stuff. You just got to try different things. If I give you a sample and it doesn't work, I'm not going to let you walk away. I'm going to give you another sample. We're going to figure out what's going to work for you. That's what we're all about. I don't let people walk away without, we try to keep everybody that comes in here coming back here. Because there is something that will help everybody. It's just a matter of finding out which cannabinoid, what delivery system.
Yes, it's a lot of trial and error for sure, to find out what's going to work, what's not going to work, what type of regimen am I going to be on, how many times a day, is this a morning thing, is this a night thing, is it an afternoon thing? Again, we all have different bodies. We have different ways of reacting to things that we put into our body, and so on and so forth. Now, how can people reach out to you and perhaps buy some of your products?
So you can go on our website. It's www.chaseschoice.org. You can call me personally on my cell phone, 719-994-0141. Or you can email me at ken@chaseschoice.org. Or you can come, if you're in Colorado, you can come down to 200 Water Street, Canyon City, Colorado, 81212, and check out our 10,000 square foot facility. And we also have a bunch of warehouses full of food and meat. We do a veterans outreach. So veterans come down once a week. They get a shopping cart. They get to shop in our warehouses, pick out what food they want. And we also open that up to Department of Correction workers, frontline workers, teachers, CNAs, basically the working class of frontline workers. They can come in here and shop once a week too. And all our veterans get 15% discount on.
It's amazing the work you are doing in your community. You are a selfless servant. You give back. You are there as a symbol of hope and a symbol of strength, and everything that you've done in healing your son, in healing everybody that walks in through those doors. And like you said, if something doesn't work, keep with me. And I want to create something or come up with a plan that will get you feeling better, because that's what it's all about. It's about having that good quality of life so we can live the life that we were intended to live without all the pain and the traumatic type situations that are always on our head and minds that cause the anxiety and the depression and the loneliness and the hopelessness and the helplessness and all that other stuff, that this medicine can really help benefit anybody that uses it. And again, I'm new to this, and there's still a long way to go for me. But so far, from what I've seen and what I've experimented with, all non-psychoactive, all just different forms of CBD and different types of strains and cannabinoids, it has been a tremendous experience thus far. And again, I want to thank you for joining us today, Ken. You are an honorable man.
Well, thank you. And like we had talked about on the phone, I don't consider myself a healer, a shaman, a doctor, anything like that. I'm a coach. I give people like you the tools to heal yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a great coach you are. I mean, guys, when he puts his phone number out there, call him. When he puts his website out there, go check it out. He put his address out there. Go see him. I mean, this guy, there's not too many guys that are actually at their place of employment and actually own it and do everything from the grows to creating all the medicine to bottling it and then to open his doors to the community, to open his doors to frontline workers, to open his doors to veterans and Department of Corrections workers, and to heal those in need. They don't have a lot of kins out there, but we need more kins in this world. So we sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the military and veteran community. Your service, sacrifice, and dedication is truly admirable.
Thank you, sir. And we appreciate everything that you do, Tally. We need more people like you out there, as a voice for us.
I'm trying. Like I said, I'm so new at this. I didn't even know really how to do the interview. I'm like, man,
you do badass interviews. I watch every one of them.
What do I do? What do I say? I mean, because again, I'm still learning about this. This is also very new, and a lot of my listeners are probably thinking the same thing. Wow, maybe this is an avenue that I can at least entertain. Me starting some sort of a CBD regimen to take that pain away, whether it be physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain. We all have pain. We all have traumatic situations in our life. And what better way to heal yourself through the natural remedies of life and not go to those pharmaceuticals that are full of warning labels and things that can really knock you out and put you down and not feeling well. Even though they may take away the pain, it's not really giving you that ability to go out and live life to its fullest potential. And that is what you try to do every day. Yes, he's not a doctor, he's not a scientist, but he's a man who cares. He's a man on a mission. What he has done has been proven. And he's a living example of it with his wife and breast cancer and his son Chase when he was paralyzed. And now he is living life to his fullest potential at his new job, working as a correctional officer. And Chase, congratulations. You have a great father. You have a great mother in Tammy. And I have all the respect to you in the world, man. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Until next time, for Tuesdays with Tally, this is Brian Tally. Good night. Semper